So I'm going to go ahead and Bryce, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to take it from you.
Yep. I love that you use the word all right. It fit perfectly with the song. I really appreciate that subtle.
Okay. All right. So thank you guys for being here for group coaching here today. We're going to start it off the same way we start off every group coaching call and really every meeting that we have, even our meetings internally. We like to start with wins. This is one of my clients. This is Cody with Hunter Rain Gutters. I just wanted to take a moment to brag on him. When he first started with us, he had been strictly subcontracting out for a general contractor in the area, and then that general contractor stopped doing any business. And so he was a little bit SOL, where no leads. Now, he's the busiest summer he's ever had. He's busy enough that he just hired an office manager and a sales guy to take on more work. And we all know that's kind of a scary thing to do, to hire your first office manager and salesperson. And so I just want to congratulate him for entering a whole new stage of his business and being tenacious enough to do it. And so I just wanted to brag on Cody here. But I would love to hear if anybody has any wins, large or small. We celebrate them all. I just ask for you to unmute and tell us the good news. What's going on? Anybody?
New website just launched today. Thanks, Travis.
Hey, that's exciting. We love that.
Oh, yeah.
Any other wins? I know that it's been 100 here the past couple days. And so if you are dealing with weather like that, maybe we might be a little bit low energy today. Is anybody feeling a little low energy, a little tired?
I have a win. I have a pretty big win, actually. I forgot. And
Oh, wow.
Tell us.
I think he may be on the call. Unless that's a different Justin, but we recently started with Justin from Just Doors. He had 12 reviews when we started last week on Thursday. We met. Oh yeah, it was exactly a week ago. When I met with Justin on Tuesday and he watched the group call on Google reviews, and he knew his assignment. He got from 12 reviews to north of 60 reviews in 5 days.
Oof.
Woo!
I was like, Justin, I told you not to buy reviews from India. And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't say that. But he, I asked him, what'd you do? I mean, I know that like getting a few here and there, that takes some, some focus. But he said, just for 2 hours straight, just went through all of his contacts, just went through all of his text messages, texted everybody. And, it wasn't just a canned quick message. Please give me a review. Click here. Thank you. Bye. And it was, hey, how you doing? All right, checking in. Hey, by the way, here's why I'm reaching out to you. Could you leave me a review? Really looking for your help, and then explain the kind of review he's looking for. He's not asking them to make a bunch of things up. Where there's a lot of character reviews in there, and so forth. But wow, that was about 48 reviews, maybe 50 reviews in 5 days. I was wowed.
Woo!
Way to go, Justin.
Yes, way to go, Justin. That is somebody who wants to win and is willing to do what it needs to take, willing to get uncomfortable. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable getting news, but he said, dang it, I'm getting them. And so I can't wait to see what else he's able to accomplish with that same attitude.
That's what I told him.
Anybody else have a quick win that they want to share?
Gotta be quick though. Gotta. Can't be
right.
too good.
Going once, going twice. All right, let's get going here. Let's see. Oh. See if it's like when you took away the share, Bryce, it like took away my slides.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nicole.
Here.
I had to do it.
It's okay. Okay, let's give this another try.
Let's talk about weather. it's become an inside joke with me and the office where when you don't know what to talk about, you talk about weather. So now you're gonna laugh a lot when we talk about weather in your calls. So get ready for it.
Okay, so I've got him. Rudy, thanks for covering for me there. Okay, so what we are going to be talking about today is how to convey your value successfully. This is applicable for service guys. This is applicable especially for people who have a longer sales process. But why I wanted to do this topic here today, one is to piggyback off the call that we did last week, because the call we did last week was all about how to convey value over the phone, that first initial phone call, how to book more people, how to really to get the most out of your CSR. And this one is going to be more so about how to convey value during your sales process, how to convey value when you're about to go over price, when you're in the field. Why I wanted to bring this up is because I've had quite a few clients who have mentioned that right now it's a little bit harder to close people than maybe it's been in the past. Or maybe you've just been getting less leads than what you're used to. There's just less people out there looking to get work done. And we can blame the economy, we can blame inflation, but what do we actually have control over? Let's focus on that. And what we have control over is the value that we are able to provide and the value that we're able to convey, which is what's really going to allow us to be able to maintain prices and be able to close deals. Has anybody been feeling that here? Am I totally off base, or has anybody kind of been experiencing that, just feeling like it's a little bit harder to close people? Prices are higher than they've ever been. I see a couple hands, people nodding. All right. So let's talk about this. This is not a new concept. I know it's kind of strange to put an Oscar Wilde quote here on this business call, but why I did it is because he lived a long time ago. He lived a long time ago, and this quote says, nowadays people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. And so, yes, inflation's higher than it's been. Yes, the economy is doing some weird things. We don't know what it will do. But the matter of the fact is that this has always been a problem. People always are going to be focused on price. They're going to be more focused on that than even value. And so this is not a new thing. It might be more prevalent now than it has been in the past year, but it's in no way new. And so even if we get back into an economy where things are over inflation, the material prices go down, these are still principles that you want to be applying, because these are principles that are going to allow you to sell higher, to sell better, and really allow you to be a premium service. So my first point here is it is up to you to educate the customer on the benefits you provide. I have a lot of clients that will sometimes say, well, Nicole, a 1-year labor warranty is standard. That's just industry standard. So why would I take time to talk about that? Because as we learned from the beginning of this call, I am not handy at all. And I have no idea what the industry standard is. And so if you're coming to my house to give me a quote, I'm not going to have any idea that it's standard to give a 1-year labor warranty. That's going to build value with me as your prospective client. It is up to you to make sure that you are explaining the benefits. Let's not assume that people benefits. That's a false narrative. They don't. And kind of the whole theme for this call, you're probably going to hear me say it a couple more times till you're sick of hearing me say it, is without value, the only thing people worry about is price. Without value, the only thing people worry about is price. And so if we want to sell at a higher price point, if we want to be a premium service, we have to make sure that we are conveying and providing the value, because that's the only thing that people are going to care about, other than just going with whoever's the cheapest. Why wouldn't somebody go with just the cheapest guy? It's because they want a higher quality. They want higher value. And then another principle we're going to be talking about today is that every member of your team is a salesperson. Who here has technicians that work under them? Can I get a raise of hands? Who has techs, like service guys? We're sending people out. Okay, quite a few of you here. That's most of our clients. Who here has ever been like, yeah, my techs don't like selling. They make it very clear they're not sales guys. They're just a tech. They're a guy who's here to fix the problem. Every member of your team is a salesperson, from the person who's answering the phone to the technician that shows up to solve the problem. Every single person on your team is a salesperson. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth, what that looks like. And I wanted to throw in this quote here from Tim Redmond. Every single employee here at Redmond Growth has been in sales at some point. We start in sales. You know, sales is a big part of what we do here at Redmond Growth. And he really kind of has embedded in us that you will sell what you believe. People buy the confidence that you project. Your confidence is the first thing that you are selling. So if you don't believe in your prices, if you don't believe in your value, if you aren't able to convey that to your guys and teach them how to communicate that value, if they don't believe in it, they're not going to be able to sell it. And so we've got to have that confidence in our prices and in the value that we provide. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to sell it. So how do we convey value to customers? The first thing here is with our online reputation. Rudy had a beautiful win here on the beginning of this call, and I think I did see that Justin with Just Doors did pop onto this call. But your online reputation is the first impression that most people have with a customer. It's going to be things like your Google reviews. Going from 12 to 16 over week is phenomenal, Justin. Just want to brag again on that. Your Google reviews, that's your first opportunity to really build value. If you have way more reviews than the competition, a way better rating, then they're going to expect that you're going to be charging a higher price point because you are a premium service. It starts from that very first impression. It also, and this can be a little bit tough, your online reputation is also how you respond to those negative reviews. Who here has gotten a negative review? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, everybody, we've gotten them. Okay, we know it's hard to not be emotional about it.
Can I brag about Josh of Terra Insulation? I've seen
Yes.
about a couple just, 2-paragraph negative reviews, and he doesn't give up. Like 3 weeks later, I think even like a couple months later, suddenly I look back at there and it's like, Josh, where'd the negative review go? He's like, it's a 5-star review now. I'm like,
yes.
Shoot, way to go.
Yes. I love that. And it is a little bit hard to humble yourself to, even when you feel like you are in the right, and they're the ones in the wrong. It's really hard to humble yourself and say, okay, what can I do for you to change this experience and to get that 5-star? But it is so worth it. If you're unable to change it, if this is somebody who they just live to leave negative reviews, it's your typical Karen, it's not going to happen. Nothing I can do is going to solve this. Then we need to at least show that we are contrite, we are apologetic, we are trying to solve the problem. And so the way you respond to that review is really going to allow customers to see that side of you, that you're not somebody who's going to argue with customers. You're not somebody who's going to be spiteful. You are a business owner that is here to serve. And it can be tough. If you struggle with that, have your coach respond to the review for you, because we're going to be less close to the situation. We're going to be able to come up with a response that might be a little bit more neutral.
Yep. And I would say too, how you really equip this in your sales process. It's not just a lead generation thing. Although we've seen the effects of Google reviews giving you more ranking credibility, and therefore you get more leads. But you reference back to this in your sales process. Hey, don't just hear it from me. I can tell you how great we are until I'm blue in the lips, but see it from somebody else. And that's how you convey this value or this trustworthiness. I think Nicole may talk about this later here, but really, at the end of the day, trust, building that credibility as an expert consultatively coming in to solve their need, that approach and that method is how you sell well, is by building that trust and Google reviews, people saying things
Absolutely.
about you that you're not saying. That's a huge trust builder.
Yes, we can see Google reviews as kind of a marketing tool, and that could be partially on us because that's how we present it and it's how we push it. Is getting these Google reviews is going to get you more leads. And yes, it will, but it will also make closing deals easier. It will allow you to sell at a higher price point because people are seeing you as a premium service. Your reputation is speaking for itself. This is also professional photos and website. That is your reputation. That's going to allow you to come across as a premium service. Nothing breaks my heart more as a business coach who primarily works with contractors is when we have a model that does kick-ass, beautiful work and their photos are garbage. It is so worth the investment, or even a nice iPhone, to take a moment once you're done with the project and take some good photos of that completed work. Those photos speak for themselves. Now, for our service guys, by our plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys, it's not as pressing. But if you are a carpenter, a cabinet person, a remodeler, even a roofer, it is so worth the investment to get professional photos. And then everybody needs a professional website. The good news is if you're here and you're working with Redmond Growth, you've probably got one of those already.
I'll interject one more time here. Sorry, Nicole. I promise I'll let you do what you're supposed to. No, but if you have a great website and it's just sitting there, don't expect anybody to go to it, right? SEO is great, and it is something that we need to do for your business so that your name pops up in multiple places. But we know that people don't spend a lot of time on the website. If you utilize it as a tool in your sales process, you take people to it, show them those photos, say, hey, check out my website, send that in an email whenever you follow up or give them an appointment confirmation. There's so much value that you have that they just have no idea of if you're not taking them to your website and expecting or hoping that they'll just go themselves.
Same thing with your reviews. That's why when you look at our templates for confirmation text messages and emails, there's typically a link to the photo gallery on your site and your reviews. We got to make it easy. People are lazy. Let's send them to where we want them to go. And then professional, prompt, clear, and upbeat communication. We talked a lot about this last week, so I'm only going to brush over it here. Your first impression that you have outside of how they found you, found you through Google or however your website. The first impression that somebody's really going to have is the phone. We had a huge storm come through Tulsa a couple weeks ago. I've lived here since I was 7, and I've never seen damage like the damage that it brought. We were out of power for over a week. Some people, I had 2 large trees down in my backyard. One fell onto my awning. I have been dealing with contractors all week.
There is a link to the GoFundMe here in the chat box.
That's what insurance is for, you turd. But I've been dealing with contractors all week. I've been getting multiple quotes, multiple bids, and the people who I go with, it really doesn't matter to me necessarily the price, unless they're like crazy, way more expensive than everybody else, significantly. Like I had one fencing guy quote me like 20 grand and another one quote me like 10 and then 8. So obviously the 20 grand is way too high. The people who I went with them because first off, they answered the freaking phone. They answered the phone. Second, he was upbeat and he was excited to talk to me. You have no idea how many times I called a contractor and I felt like I was interrupting their day. That's not a good first impression to have when you're like, oh, give me a second. Can I call you back later? That's not building my confidence. That's not building my faith. That's building my faith that you're probably going to show up late or if you show up at all. And so that prompt, professional, clear, upbeat communication goes so far. The contractor that I chose to do my awning, why I chose them, and you guys are going to be like, Nicole, this is really silly, is because First off, communication was great. She was so upbeat. She built rapport with me when she was on the phone. We talked about my dogs, you know, like built a lot of rapport. On their way there, they stopped at Starbucks and she sent me a text and said, "Hey, we're stopping by Starbucks. Do you want anything?" I was
So
floored.
small,
I
but
was
so crazy. I'm just,
so floored. Like I was shocked. Like I said, you know, no, I'm good. I've got some at home, but still it was like, wow, how intentional is that? Like they're seeing me as a person. You know, I don't just feel like a lead or somebody who's interrupting their day. And so that professional and prompt, clear and upbeat communication goes so far. We want to try to minimize background noise. We want to be happy to help. When I say happy to help, we want to avoid saying the word no. And sometimes you will have to say the word no, but you want to, if somebody's like, "Oh, can you just give me a price?" You probably can't. The answer to that question is probably no. But how we want to present it is absolutely, we can definitely give you a price. What I can do is I can send one of our expert lead carpenters out to give you a detailed and accurate quote to give you more information about your project. You know, we're saying no without saying no. We're saying yes. We're presenting them with the options. We want to build that rapport. We want to hear their needs. We want to go over benefits. That's going to lead you to closing the deal. We want to make sure that every conversation we have has those 4 things: rapport, needs, benefits, close. And if you are a service guy who's thinking in your head right now, "Nicole, this is not relevant to me," I am telling you that you are wrong. This is relevant to you too. This is not just for remodelers. This is not just for people who have a longer sales process. This is for you as well. And if you need more information on that, then please listen to the group call from last week, because Rogers Plumbing went over that in great detail, how they're able to do that as a service guy. Your value is conveyed during your sales process. Now, just having a sales process is not enough. You need to have ongoing training too. One thing Tim Redmond constantly says to us is that people need 1,000 nudges, us as Redmond Growth employees included. He was probably talking about us when he said it. We need 1,000 nudges. If you just tell somebody to do something, or if you just give them the system and expect them to run it, it's not going to happen. You have to have that ongoing training and accountability. The first step is having a documented, edited, and followed sales process. We first want to get that sales process documented onto the piece of paper. That's the first step. The second step is editing. Sales processes are not set in stone. They are meant to be edited. If there is somebody on your team who is selling better than others, let's ask them, what are they doing differently? And let's document that. Let's use our team. If we have somebody who's not selling super well, let's sit down and go through the sales process with them and make sure they're following each step. Let's build their confidence if they aren't super confident in a step. We got to make sure that this is documented, edited, and followed. We're going to be talking about a one sheet. A lot of you probably already have a one sheet. It might be something that you don't have yet, but is something we'll be creating with you. We're going to be talking about that, but this is a beautiful tool to really be able to allow your technicians, these guys who maybe are not super inclined to sell, to be able to sell and convey value easily. For our service guys, this is having a service call checklist. If you want your guys to show up on time, to show up looking presentable, to build rapport with the customer, to give multiple options instead of just one price, to operate safety inspection, then you need to have it documented somewhere. Because I promise you, the last thing your technician is thinking about is building rapport with a customer. They're probably thinking about the issue they're about to go solve, or what they're going to get for lunch after this job. And so we have to have a checklist that they can follow, that they can reference to, and we got to hold them accountable to it. We've got to train them on how to use it. We've got to have a documented sales process, and we've got to train people, and we've got to hold them accountable to it. Speaking of accountability, we want to hold our team to our standards. These are things like a professional dress code. You know, we want to make sure that our guys look nice. We want to make sure that their clothes are clean, that they're tucked in, that they're showing up in uniform. We want to make sure that they have clean vehicles. Let's make sure that trash all over the dash. Let's make sure that the van looks clean, looks nice from the outside. Let's make sure that your vans are branded, even if it's just a sticker on the side. We want to make sure that our vehicles look nice. We want to show up on time. Again, I've been dealing with contractors all week. That is as somebody who lives by a schedule very rigorously, it is very frustrating when contractors do not show up on time or consistently reschedule or consistently don't communicate. Let's show up on time. Let's send confirmation text messages and emails for appointments. Let's let people know when we're on the way. If we do need to reschedule, let's make sure that it's a phone call and we're apologetic and we're getting to them as quickly as possible. Let's make sure that we're holding ourselves to these high standards. And then last but not least is building rapport. Every person in your company is a salesperson. Your technicians are sales guys. Your office manager is a salesperson. Even if your office manager is never closing a deal or never talking about price, they are still a salesperson. Your technicians are salesperson. The more time that you spend with the customer, building that rapport, being friendly. Rogers Plumbing, Robert Redmond is his coach. And Robert told me this yesterday, that his technicians at a minimum spend 2.5 to 3 hours at every single job, no matter how large or small. Even if the job only takes 1.5 hours, they are there for 2.5 to 3 hours. Why? Because they are building rapport with the customer. They are going through a sales process. They are doing a home safety inspection. They are chatting with the customer. That is building rapport. That is securing that customer to come back. That's securing that job. And so the time that you spend with the customer, the more communication you have, the better chance of closing that deal and the better chance of making them a customer for life. Now, I mentioned the one sheet earlier. This is an example of one of the one sheets. I screenshotted this. The one sheet's bigger than this. It's a front and back document, but I wanted to really focus here on the comparison chart because that's the most valuable part of your one sheet. This does not take long to go through. This is something that your technicians can use. This is something that your sales guys can use to be able to very quickly and efficiently explain the value that you provide. What makes you different than all the other people they're getting quotes from? We take a quick moment and we take a pen or a pencil and we go down this. We don't need to read it word for word. It's okay. I know that you had a lot of different companies to choose from, but just take a quick moment to tell you what makes us a little bit different. The first thing here is we offer a 3-year warranty. What's standard in the industry is only a 12-month warranty. What that means is that if anything is faulty in any way within 3 years of us doing the job, we're going to come back out and we're going to fix it on us. We stand by our work. We also have a superior product, you know, and we go into details. These are provable, tangible, qualifiable. What you don't see on here is that they're locally owned. Everybody's locally owned. What you don't see on here anywhere is them just saying, well, we care more than the other guy. Everybody says that. Or we're simply the best. Everybody says that. What they do say is that they're the highest rated in Arkansas. That is a provable fact. And they put that down there that you could Google us right now and you will see over 300 5-star Google reviews. Nobody else comes close. Provable, tangible benefits. And so there's a lot of power in this one sheet. It's easy for anybody to use, even if they aren't a salesperson. It's a script without having a script. Whereas your typical technician who might be a little bit shy, might not, you know, he became a technician because he didn't want to be a salesperson. All he has to do is hold this one sheet and just point at it with his finger and go down it. And if he communicates it with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of positivity, it's going to do its job for him. When do we want to use this one sheet? That's usually a question I get asked when I talk about the one sheet. So the first thing is if you are in an industry where you have a sales appointment and then a couple days later you're reviewing an estimate. You know, you a remodeler, a home builder, you know, you're not going to be able to give an estimate on the spot. We want to review this one sheet during that first sales appointment, and we want to leave it with the customer. Okay, and so we want to take, okay, loved meeting with you today. I got all the information I need. We're set to do an estimate review. You know, today's Thursday. We're going to be reviewing it together Monday at 9 a.m. I'm going to come back out, review that with you. But before I go, I just want to tell you a couple of things that make us a little bit different. And you take a moment and you go down that one sheet. So that's the first time that we want to utilize this one sheet. The second time is right before you give the estimate. If you are somebody who does have a longer sales process, I know you already went over the one sheet during that first initial sales appointment. But right after you go over the estimate, you want to go over it with them again. Just say, hey, I know I left you with that one sheet. We went over it, but I just wanted to touch point on a couple of these things again. You go down it again. Why? Because the last thing that's on their mind before we go over price is the value that you provide that's different and better than all the other people who gave them quotes. And so the value is the first thing that's on their mind. So when we go over price is going to be less of a concern because they're going to be more focused on value. For our service guys, same principle applies. Right before we go over the options, to solve their problem, I want to say, hey, by the way, I know that there's a lot of plumbers in the Tulsa County to choose from. Here's what you can expect with us. And you just briefly go down it real quick. And then you say, okay, any questions about that? No? Perfect. Here are our options for you. And so right before we're going over the estimates, right before we get to numbers, the last thing that's on their mind is the value, what you are doing differently than everybody else. Here at Remick, we have a lot of tools to help convey value. We have call scripts. We have call scripts for remodelers, those people with longer sales processes. We have call scripts for service companies. We've got documented sales processes. We can create for you a one sheet. We can edit your current one sheet if based on this call you're wanting to do something differently. We have a service call checklist for those of you who have techs going out into the field who want to be able to sell better. And so if you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to your coach. We will build it with you. Now, I want to close out this call with this quote from Grant Cardone. Is anybody familiar with Grant Cardone? We've heard his name. We know who he is. For those of us who don't, he is a sales trainer, speaker, entrepreneur. He's a best-selling author. He's a real estate mogul who built his $5 billion with a B portfolio. This quote, never lower your price, add value. I know that right now, when leads might be a little bit slower than we're used to, where the economy is not as good as it's been, where inflation is high, which is forcing us to quote higher than we ever have. People might be a little bit more cautious with their money. That does not mean that we need to feel pressured to lower our price and lower our standards. What it means is that we have to lean into what we have control over. The prices are what they are. You can't control how much material cost is. You can't control how much labor cost is. The prices are what they need to be in order for you to be a healthy business. And so we never want to lower price. What we want to do is what we have control over. And what we have control over is the value that we bring, the value that we provide, the rapport that we build. And so I encourage you to lean into that because we don't know what the economy is. And so let's not worry about it. Let's worry about what we can fix, what we can control. Let's get some sales training going. Let's get some systems documented. Let's make sure that everybody in our organization is feeling confident in the product and the value that we provide and are able to clearly and confidently communicate it. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. You're probably ready to hear me stop talking. And so we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to let Bryce tell everybody where they are going to go. You're going to get a little pop-up on your screen to join a breakout room if you will click that. and we will get into the nitty gritty there.